tonight on CTV3 News. Daring armed burglary at Corozal commercial free zone at mid-tropical storm warnings. Millions of Mexican pesos is stolen. 2 suspects are captured. Suspicious Cessna 210 discovery sparks drug trafficking concerns and police investigations. A female police officer is said to be involved. Brutal attack in San Pedro sparks police manhunt for suspect. And Prime Minister John Briceño assessed flooding damage. These are some of the stories we have for you tonight in our newscast from Monday, November 18th, 2024.
Pro FC is here on Saturday, November 30th. Pro FC arrives at the Garden City Belmopan. Pro FC 14 Mundo versus Topsy inside the UB Gymnasium in the city of Belmopan. The main event is the lightweight championship fight between the defending champion Marvin Manley Mundo versus the dangerous Amel Topsy. We also have 9 other exciting MMA fights, including 2 more championship fights and a featured professional international MMA fight featuring the undefeated Frank Mac Vasquez. Doors open at 6:30 p.m. and the event starts at 7:30 p.m. sharp. General admission tickets are only $30 and VIP tickets are $80 available at the event ticket booth. Pro FC, Belize Premier MMA League. Pro FC 14 live exclusively on Centaur.
Pro FC 14 is brought to you by Smart, bringing people together, the Belmopan City Council, and Express Plus app, streaming entertainment.
Good evening with your news, also simulcast on Fiesta FM 106.7. I am Joanna Rodriguez. In the midst of growing concerns over Tropical Storm Saras's potential impact on Belize, a shocking incident of armed robbery unfolded in the early hours of yesterday morning within the Corozal commercial free zone. At approximately 2 a.m., 3 armed men targeted a warehouse in the free zone, holding a security guard at gunpoint. According to sources speaking with CTV3 News, the assailants forcibly entered the warehouse and made off with an estimated amount of over 3 million pesos in cash, over $400,000 Belize. Surveillance footage obtained by CTV3 News shows 5 men in the warehouse. With their identity fully concealed, the men use flashlights to carry out their search. All of them focus on the counter area where it seems their search led them to the money, which they stashed in purses and plastic bags. From the footage we obtained, the men entered the warehouse at 2:07 p.m. and left 5 minutes after at 2:12 p.m. Local authorities were quick to respond, leading to the capture of 2 of the alleged robbers later in the day. A portion of the stolen cash was also recovered during this operation. Notably, images obtained by CTV3 News reveal one of the suspects wearing a security uniform from the commercial free zone. It has been confirmed that this individual was employed by management at the time of the incident. Commissioner of Police Chester Williams provided an update on the situation, stating that those apprehended are yet to face formal charges and investigations continue as police are actively seeking 2 additional suspects believed to be linked to the aggravated burglary.
Yesterday morning before day, Corozal police were notified of a burglary within the Corozal free zone. Based on that information, the Corozal police mobilized and went to the area. They conducted searches utilizing drones, and they were able to locate 2 individuals who are suspected to have been a part of that burglary. Police also found a bag containing some pesos, Mexican pesos, along with a few Belize dollars and a few US currency. The bag of money was taken to the Corozal police station where it was counted, and it amounted to 4-point-something million pesos. I think just over 200 US, 200 plus US dollars, and a small amount of Belize currency. The two individuals are currently detained. I'm not aware of the total amount of monies stolen during the burglary. I think we're still trying to ascertain that figure. But so far, we believe we have 2 of the suspects in custody. We're still looking for an additional 2 more persons. We're hoping that we'll be able to find them very shortly, and then we'll see how we go from there.
How are they able to conduct the robbery?
It's not a robbery, it's a burglary.
Burglary.
Yes. From what we gathered again is that they did so in collusion with the security guard who worked at the establishment. So that security guard is also in custody as a part of our investigation.
How were you guys able, the quick response, to be able to capture them?
Well, calls were received and the police responded quickly.
Are these people, they're Belizean?
Yes, Belizean, yes.
And are they known to police?
Yes, they're from Belize City.
As the authorities continue their investigations, the names of the detained men have not yet been released to the public. Last Friday, we told you about the Cessna 210 aircraft that made the mysterious landing in the Franks Eddy area, reigniting concerns over drug trafficking routes in the region. This event marks the first suspected drug plane sighting in nearly a year, prompting an increased police presence and an ongoing investigation. According to preliminary reports, the single-engine plane was discovered on the southwestern side of the Caves Branch River at what appears to be an improvised landing strip. Eyewitnesses described the aircraft as stripped off of its seats, a modification typically indicative of transport operations aimed at smuggling illicit cargo. Without a seating, the Cessna 210 is capable of carrying between 1,500 to 1,600 pounds of cargo, a significant amount that raises suspicions about its intended use. According to Commissioner of Police Chester Williams, a farmer alerted authorities after stumbling upon the abandoned aircraft, prompting an immediate response from the Belize Police Department.
Friday morning, sometime around 9 a.m., received a call from a farmer who was on his way to farm in the Franks Eddy area, and he stumbled upon a plane. He called us and we responded to the area. Upon getting there, the police observed a single-engine aircraft. A search of the aircraft revealed nothing, but the seats were removed. The back seats were removed. The only 2 seats were that of the pilots. Searches were conducted in the area. Police found some lights that we believe were used to align the landing strip for the plane, along with other few items that we believe were used in facilitating the plane landing. We are still trying to ascertain exactly what cargo came on that plane, but as usual, we suspect that it could be cocaine. We are looking for one individual, likewise, who we believe may be able to provide some information to us. We have searched the entire area, including using drones, and we have not been able to do so. The Sibun River is not too far away from the area where the plane landed, so we believe that if there was any cargo on board the aircraft, it may have left the area via the Sibun River.
As the investigation unfolds, authorities are keenly seeking a possible lead who might provide insight into the incident and have also detained one of its own officers, a woman, for questioning amidst allegations of a breach of internal policy.
We had detained a police officer, a female police officer, because we believe that she facilitated a person, the person who we believe landed that aircraft, in signing in at the police station outside the hours stipulated by the court. This person is on bail for a previous plane landing, and as a condition to his bail, he was ordered to report or to sign in to the Belmopan police station every Friday between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. Surprisingly, the same night the plane landed, he came to sign in at the Belmopan police station after 12 midnight. That would be around the same time the plane would be landing. And this female police officer facilitated him to the extent that she took the diary from inside the station and took it outside of the station for him to sign. That for us is an egregious breach. I'm not going to say that she is involved in the plane landing, but her actions in facilitating this individual, knowing who he is, to have signed in at that particular moment is extremely questionable. And so Professional Standard Branch is looking at that matter, and we expect that charges will be levied against her for breach of our internal policies.
In a shift from prior practices, the found Cessna will not be auctioned off to the public, but instead will be destroyed. This decision marks a stark contrast to previous instances where similar aircraft were sold to the highest bidder.
Yes, that's a directive that the plane be destroyed. Again, it's the trend that we do now. Instead of putting these planes out for action and sold to the highest bidder, it's a policy now that we destroy them so as not to have these planes reused. We have seen instances before where the planes were auctioned off, and then next thing we know, the planes end up right back in these again with another set of cargo. So to eliminate that from happening, these aircraft are now destroyed on spot.
Is this the first plane to have landed suspected drug plane since the one in Corazon Creek last December?
Yes.
Okay. And that is because the radar usually picks it up and police report it, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know how much time elapsed between the landing of the plane approximately to when the police got the information?
From our best information, the plane may have landed sometime after midnight, based on our discussion with people in the area.
Last week, the home of 35-year-old Martin Marin, who serves as part of the Quick Response Team QRT of the Belize Police Force, was shot at. As we told you, Marin was preparing for bed when gunfire erupted around his residence located in the Finca Solana area. According to reports, as the sound of gunshots subsided, Marin went outside and noticed a motorcycle speeding away in the distance. Upon inspection, Marin discovered that a Jeep Cherokee belonging to 42-year-old Police Inspector Kimarak Lopez, which was parked in his yard, had been hit by 2 bullets. One shot penetrated the rear of the vehicle and exited through the windshield. Corozal police were quick to respond to the scene and recovered several expended 9mm shell casings from the street, pointing to the use of a likely semi-automatic weapon. Addressing the media today, Police Commissioner Chester Williams condemned the attack and expressed his disappointment over insensitive comments made online regarding the incident. He strongly defended Marin, calling him a hard-working officer dedicated to serving the community.
Yeah, we do have the home of a police officer who is assigned to the Corozal QRT. That was shot at sometime last week. Again, we take this very seriously. We have a basic idea who are those persons behind it. And the police have been going after these individuals, and contrary to what I saw on social media. And again, I want to say to our Belizean people that we cannot be insensitive to issues, especially where the potential loss of life existed. And we can't be too harsh on the police officers who are out there every day making sure that you're safe. I saw some of the comments where people were saying it's not good for the police, or the police and chance, the police and this, the police and that. Those comments are very disgusting. At the end of the day, we cannot live in a society where the police is not respected, because if the criminals don't respect the police, then how do you expect as an ordinary citizen the criminals are going to respect you? We have to be careful of what we promote or what we encourage. And again, the police officer in question whose house was shut up, he's an extremely hard-working police, and I can say a very decent one as well. You don't hear his name out there involved in any criminal activities, but certainly he goes after the criminals, and perhaps that's the reason why he was targeted, because he is extremely tough on those persons in the Corozal district who are hell-bent on committing crime. So this is an officer who is out there every day doing his best, going above and beyond to ensure the safety of the people of Corozal Town, and I think that he ought to be commended. And in a time like this, where we saw that he was targeted, we need to sympathize with him, and at the same time extend whatever support we can to make him feel comfortable in continuing to discharge his duties as a police officer.
The Corozal Police Department is actively investigating the incident, seeking to determine the motive behind the attack and identify any potential suspects. A violent and alarming incident unfolded in San Pedro last Friday night, leaving a local woman in serious condition and prompting a police manhunt for her former partner. Sabella Brakeman was brutally attacked in her own home by Kenny Brakeman, who is now a person of interest in the case. According to reports, Sabella and her roommate were asleep when the assault took place. She was awoken to find a man wearing gloves attacking her with a stick. Descriptions of the attack indicate that Sabella was forcibly dragged from her bed and beaten to the point of unconsciousness within minutes. After the assault, Kenny Brakeman reportedly transported Sabella on a red golf cart to a nearby dock. He is alleged to have placed her onto a jet ski and then ferried her towards Key Cocker. At the dock in Key Cocker, Sabella regained consciousness, albeit still feeling disoriented from the brutal attack. Seizing the opportunity, she managed to escape and made her way to the Key Cocker police station, where she received vital assistance. Commissioner of Police Chester Williams addressed the media regarding the horrific incident.
On Saturday, the 16th day of November 2024, around 2:30 a.m., Kikaka police responded to a report at the Kikaka Polyclinic, where upon their arrival they found Sabella Brakeman with several injuries. She reported that she was in San Pedro inside her bedroom when she was attacked by her ex-husband, Kenny Brakeman, who broke down the door and hit her on a roommate with a piece of stick. Brakeman then placed her on a jet ski and headed towards Kikaka. Somewhere near Kikaka, she managed to jump in the water as she went to seek help. An investigation was carried out. She was then transported to the KHMH for treatment, where she remains in a stable condition. We are still looking for Kenneth Brakeman, as he has not been found.
This was a pretty wild incident in that he allegedly forced her onto a jet ski, and then we're told too that her jaw and her hand is also broken. Can you confirm this?
Yes, she has several injuries and is being treated at the KHMH. And yes, he took her from San Pedro and headed towards Kikaka on a jet ski.
Have there been previous reports of domestic violence in this household?
Not that we know of, no.
Police are asking anyone with knowledge of the suspect's location or any details related to the case to contact them immediately. Coming up next, the flyover to assess the damages caused by Sarah. Stay tuned.
What is happening today is the understanding of the scope of the flooding. We have been getting reports from the ground, but we need to get a bird's eye view of the extent and really understand what is happening. This information will help us in determining what our next steps are, where we need to continue relief efforts, and where we need to start planning efforts for recovery. There needs to be targeted support. We cannot just go into a village and start providing support to everyone. We need to know where the critical needs are and ensure that those persons who need those things receive the assistance they require. So assessments need to be conducted once it is safe for us to be out there. Understand that there are still rising waters and we cannot jeopardize the safety of our staff. So when it is safe enough, assessment teams will go out and will start finding out where everyone is, and then we'll be providing the immediate assistance such as food, water, cleaning kits, hygiene kits, and so on. Further needs will be refined as we are able to do those more in-depth assessments. NEMO has different layers. So the first layer is the NEMO Secretariat, which is headed by me. The second layer is all of the ministries and our partners. Every ministry is a part of NEMO. And the third layer are those municipalities and village committees which actually do the actual work. So whenever you see a soldier, whenever you see a sailor, whenever you see a Ministry of Agriculture personnel going out doing assessment, they are doing work on behalf of NEMO and they are doing NEMO work. So that's national emergency work. So it is not, if you don't see someone wearing a NEMO shirt, that does not mean that NEMO is not engaged. So we ensure that when you see a soldier, that there was a truck provided, that there was fuel provided, that there's food provided for that soldier, and that those soldiers have information of where to go. So the entire system works and the entire system functions. So the idea that NEMO is not there because you don't see the NEMO officer is not correct. Everything works through coordination, and our office is the one doing all the coordinating. If you were to tally up all of the workers, everyone who participates in this response, we would be easily in the thousands of persons. So everyone contributes to this effort. When we activate the national system, we have to be there as the technical officers, but there's someone there providing the food, there's someone there picking up the garbage, there's someone there providing the water. So everyone contributes, and I really want to thank everyone at every level, because every town there were people doing this work. So we were easily in the thousands of people. So I think the thanks need to be to those persons. So while we are the ones in front of the camera, and people think that it's us doing the work, we are not the only ones. We cannot do that work without the support staff, and we want to send that thanks to the support staff. We want to send a thanks to every soldier, every sailor, every person, every worker from the Ministry of Human Development, and so on, who have been contributing to this and who will contribute to this for any event in the future.
Following Tropical Storm Sarah over the weekend, government officials are currently assessing the damage and planning for recovery efforts in the Coyote district. Prime Minister John Brissenden today joined NEMO officials and other government agents for a flyover in affected areas. After getting a first-hand look at the situation on the ground, PM Brissenden says that the Chalilla Dam is overflowing, with more water expected to flow down the Belize River, which could worsen flooding in areas like San Ignacio and surrounding villages.
We started off early this morning by taking a flyover. We went all the way to the Moyhon and seeing how the water is overflowing. Wherever you go, you just see lots of water flowing, and all of that water is coming into the Coyote district, onto the Belize district, and onto the sea. We saw also here by the Santander farms lots of, probably a few hundred acres of sugar cane underwater. A lot of small farmers have been losing their crops at Mile 7 and those other La Gracia, those small villages. We have a lot of our farmers that grow vegetables. A lot of that it's underwater. A lot of damage to infrastructure, to the main roads, roads into the village streets have been damaged, water systems in some instances. So there's a lot of work ahead of us. But we just ask people to be out in the lookout. Thankfully, it's not raining, because once it stops raining, then they give us time for the water to flow out. So the Ministry of Infrastructure Development has been working closely with the area representatives and opening up bigger drains and putting bigger culverts that can manage the amount of water that we have. So it's a lot of loss, that's affecting not only the government but even individual people. Here in Bulichi, we went to some of the homes. You know, the creek water is now flowing back into the village, and several homes now have had water there inside of their homes.
Hundreds of farmers have been affected, and the PM says the situation is expected to get worse before it gets better.
We have to do an assessment right now. The people at NEMO, they have their teams out making the assessment. Some areas are still not possible to be able to have a first-hand look. And we will do as best as we possibly can to help our farmers to get back on their feet. And in the homes where we can help, again, with the limited resources that we have, we're going to try to do as best as we possibly can, because now we have to be opening up drains. We have to be putting bigger culverts. We have to be redoing a lot of village streets, farm roads, the highways that they're breaking up because of the excessive rains. Because it has been raining for several weeks, constantly, heavy rains. So everywhere the ground is lodged with a lot of water. So whatever you have rains, you can't suck it up. It's already full. So that is creating these floods, and the rivers obviously can't take all that water. Another issue, agriculture, as we go on clearing up larger areas of land, knocking down the trees and all the grass. All of that used to hold back the water. But now that that's cleared out, so the water is flowing faster into the river, and then the river gets overflowed even quicker, and then into the villages, into people's homes. You could see the same thing has happened in San Ignacio and Santa Elena. In some areas where we were, especially in Santa Elena, that over the weekend you had Friday, Saturday, lots of water, but now you don't see the water. It has run off pretty quickly. So that's kind of a good sign, but it has already created a lot of destruction in its way.
While it's too early to estimate the total cost of the damage, officials acknowledge the situation is quite substantial. Recovery efforts are already underway, with teams from the National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO, conducting assessments according to the PM.
They were alerting the citizens. They've been keeping them, especially along with the Met Department. We have to give Mr. Gordon and his team a lot of credit, to Mr. Captain Mendes from NEMO, as the head of NEMO, along with his team. They've been doing an excellent job. Minister Perez, they've been on top of this every step of the way. So we had enough notice, but people sometimes will leave everything for the last minute, or hoping that it was not going to be as bad. Well, Tropical Storm Sarah was bad, but it wasn't as bad as we expected. So we're grateful for small blessings.
The entire country of Belize experienced excessive rainfall over the weekend as Tropical Storm Sarah made its way through the country late on Saturday into early Sunday. The southern and western parts of the country were most affected, and today those areas continue to feel the effects of that storm, with severe flooding in various parts. After dumping several inches of rainfall across the country, Tropical Storm Sarah weakened into a tropical depression around midday on Sunday. As the storm began to dissipate and move west of the country, NEMO officials, through coordination with the Prime Minister, announced the all clear as of midday on Sunday. Here in the north, Tropical Storm Sarah caused heavy rains. However, until this time, there has been no major after effects or damages reported.
Well, at the moment, Johnny, I know we had some rain, and most of the roads that have been affected were roads that were in a bad condition since the previous storm we had Nadine, and it just got a bit worse in terms of like Santa Marta. We had noticed Santa Marta had some problems with the road prior to Sarah because of waters coming down from Nadine, and then with this one, well, yesterday there were sections of the road to Santa Marta that had a certain water accumulated up to about 6 inches in some areas. Then you have places like San Luis, which the road is bad right now, almost impassable for small vehicles. But this was just an added on effect from bad road conditions that they were suffering from Nadine, and now Sarah just made it a bit worse. But for the moment, we are still waiting for the water to start coming down and see what other effects they will have in areas like San Roman, San Antonio, and Douglas, as you said before. We had operations there prior to Sarah, and if we get all that rain coming down through Rio Hondo, then we will be looking at similar conditions as we had about 2 to 3 weeks before.
Throughout the weekend, as Tropical Storm Sarah passed through portions of the country, NEMA was offering live monitoring while also issuing real-time advisories across the country. These advisories included closing down establishments across the country early on Saturday night as on Sunday amidst heavy rainfall.
Recently has been doing a bit better in terms of public advisory. If you notice, for Sarah, there were about 17 advisories, 18 advisories that came up until we got the all clear. So those advisories are the official government of Belize notice to the people. They are prepared by NEMO in conjunction with the Met Service and hydrology and other inputs coming from other ministries. So yes, that's the official advisory that comes out, and we in the districts, we follow those advisories and we try to keep the local media and the people informed, so that it might have caught people unaware that these advisories keep coming up every 3-4 hours, and every time they come up, they have updates in them, and people might not be used to going to read the advisory and knowing that, like how you said earlier, the businesses have to close at 10, and then the businesses should not open on Sundays, and then the police had to go around knocking on doors to get them closed. So it's something that NEMO tries to keep the public informed a bit better now, and those advisories, yes, are the official advisories that we at Orangerock and Corozal follow, settled by the headquarters. Well, that decision is taken up, that the advisories said is on the advice of the Prime Minister.
Okay.
So the Prime Minister declared the preliminary phase for the entire country, and that means that the first red flag went up. That means that the country would face a storm or a hurricane within the next 72 hours. Later on, that advisory was changed, and it covered from Belize City to Placencia. And as such, then only those areas were flying the flags, so the flags in the north went down. Later on, the advisory covered all the coast of Belize, from Corozal down to the Guatemala border. And I thought then the flags went up again because it covered the north now. But that is that those advisories come in from NEMO headquarters on the advice of the Prime Minister, going from stage to stage. So we just follow suit in terms of when the declarations are made.
While the northern region did not experience severe effects over the weekend as a result of Sarah, the north can expect floodings in the coming days. Flood warnings remain in effect, particularly for low-lying areas, and significant flooding is possible, especially in the Albion Islands, which includes San Antonio, San Roman, Douglas, and Santa Cruz, which are already experiencing flooding for several weeks. The Belize Fire Department is conducting an investigation following a devastating fire that engulfed a two-story building in Valley of Peace during the early hours of Friday morning. Firefighters arrived on the scene to find the structure ablaze, and though they worked diligently to control the flames, the fire had already spread beyond their ability to contain it. According to the owner, Jing Pantan, he was awakened around 1 a.m. by the acrid smell of smoke emanating from the kitchen. Despite his attempts to salvage his belongings, Tan reported that he lost a substantial amount of property in the inferno, including an estimated $50,000 in cash, important personal documents, a Bolido machine, and a licensed Luger 9mm pistol. Assistant Commissioner of Police Gilberto Romero, officer commanding the Eastern Division, provided an update on the situation.
Friday, the 15th day of November 2024, police responded to a house fire in Valley of Peace. Upon the arrival, they saw a building completely engulfed in flames. Jing Tang reported that he was at home when he saw smoke in the kitchen area. Thereafter, the building caught fire. Several items are damaged, including 2 firearms. An investigation is being carried out to try and determine the cause of the fire.
Those firearms were licensed?
Yeah, they were licensed firearms.
Does he have any suspicions of what might have caused it?
He saw smoke coming from the kitchen area, and then the fire engulfed the building from there.
Was he home alone?
There were other persons there, but he was home at the time.
Investigators are currently reviewing the circumstances leading up to the fire, although preliminary reports indicate that the building as well as its contents were not insured, compounding the financial devastation for Tana. On Friday, November 8, 2024, Matthew Moses, a resident of San Pedro town, was shot and killed in an area near the popular tourist destination of Secret Beach. The incident unfolded shortly after Moses returned to the island following a visit to his family in Libertad, Corozal. According to eyewitnesses' accounts and preliminary reports, Moses sustained multiple gunshot wounds and was pronounced dead at the scene. The violent altercation is believed to have stemmed from unresolved business dealings between Moses and the property owner, an American national who fled the country prior to the incident. Sources indicate that Moses confronted the caretaker of the property, allegedly threatening harm to the caretaker and his family. This altercation is said to have escalated, ultimately leading to the tragic shooting that ended Moses' life. In a press briefing following the incident, Assistant Commissioner of Police Gilberto Romero, officer commanding the Eastern Division, updated the media on the case.
Reference that investigation, the file was sent to the DPP and we are awaiting directives.
Is the police suspecting self-defense or anything that might have?
Again, the file was sent to the DPP with all the relevant statements, what was found at the scene, and we will await directives from the DPP.
Can you confirm whether the victim had been threatening the gunman?
They had previous incidents where threats were passed, and eventually that led to the shooting.
The aftermath of Tropical Storm Sarah, which made landfall on Sunday, has left a significant mark on various communities across Belize. Affecting the districts of Stan Creek, Cayo, and Belize, the storm brought heavy rains and widespread flooding, prompting immediate responses from local authorities and engineers. After crossing Belize, Tropical Storm Sarah weakened and was downgraded to a tropical depression as its remnants moved through southern Mexico. However, the storm's impact is still being felt in Belize, where many areas are grappling with the effects of heavy rainfall and flooding. Today, Evandale Moody, Chief Engineer at the Ministry of Infrastructure, Development and Housing, MIDH, provided an update on the ongoing restoration efforts in the affected areas.
To be honest, we would still need some more time to do that assessment because we are not sure to what extent like the Salvador Fernandez Bridge has been impacted because the water there is still rising. We have decided to close as well the Sokots village area, the George Price Highway within Sokots village because the Mopan River is rising over that section, but that is a section that we have under construction for the construction of a floodway. And so that should work well in our favor because it's already under construction. In terms of other assessment, we would still have to wait until we get through this week to determine an exact value of where we are in terms of financial assets that has been damaged. I decided to close the section of the George Price Highway in the Sokots village this morning because of the floodwaters, as I mentioned, on the Mopan. And so residents of Benquevejo are now using the bypass behind Sokots village to join again onto the George Price Highway. The low-lying bridge structure in San Ignacio is closed because that is still inundated by floodwaters from the Macal. The access to Bullet Tree, where the Salvador Fernandez Bridge is also closed because of the effects of the rising floodwaters there. We also have closed the Iguana Creek Bridge because that is also inundated. The ferry at Bacon Pot is also closed. And we have a section of the Cala Creek Road in the Cayo district that is also closed. We had closed yesterday the Bermuda Landing Bridge in the Belize district because there was a sinkhole that had developed on one lane of that bridge structure. But we have mobilized our team this morning and they have completed that already. And so that bridge is now open to traffic. So other than that, most of the highways are open and the bridges that are accessible are also open.
One of the notable infrastructure projects affected by the storm is the Hawksworth Bridge, which has been undergoing months of restoration prior to the storm.
You may recall that we opened that bridge on Wednesday last week. And so on the previous Monday, what the ministry did was to do an overlay of premix on the approach because we wanted to have both bridge structures open for the Cayo district since we knew that this storm was coming. However, because of the intense rainfall, that premix that we placed was not cured properly, and that developed some potholes on the approach. And bear in mind, it's just the approach of the bridge, it's not the bridge itself. And so in an error of expediency, we tried to mobilize our team to concrete that section, even though we were going through the storm, because we did not want to hear that clatter of negative comments that we were hearing with respect to the works that were significantly done on the main bridge structure, which we believe the public should appreciate the works that we've done for the bridge structure rather than just clamoring over two potholes, right? So in an effort to eliminate that, we mobilized a team to go in and concrete that section, which is what we wanted to do before, but because we were trying to prepare for the hurricane and in an effort to have both bridges open for the public, we said, let's go ahead and use the flexible pavement, which did not help so much. And so we went in and corrected that immediately.
The Hawksworth Bridge officially reopened today at 6 a.m., ensuring crucial connectivity for residents and travelers alike. Pediatric dentistry in Belize is perhaps one of those medical checkups which a lot of parents deem unnecessary. Most children in Belize, including here in the north, don't visit the dentist until something goes wrong, and even then, they are taken to see their family dentist and not a pediatrician who specializes in pediatric dentistry. Today, the very first pediatric dentist here in the north, Janelle Novella, visited our morning show to share more about the importance of dentistry in children from a young age. The sooner children begin getting regular dental checkups, the healthier their mouths will stay throughout their lives. Early checkups help prevent cavities and tooth decay, which can lead to pain, trouble concentrating, and other medical issues. Youngsters with healthy teeth chew food easily, learn to speak clearly, and smile with confidence.
Muchas veces, culturalmente, educacionalmente, no estamos acostumbrados a llevar a los niños al odontólogo hasta que ya hay un problema severo que el niño no aguante el dolor. No hay que esperar a que eso pase, ¿ok? Tanto la Asociación Americana de Odontólogos Pediatras como la Sociedad Española de Odontólogos Pediatras han recomendado que la primera visita se realice al erupcionar el primer diente y no más tarde del primer año de vida. Se van a preguntar, ¿por qué si el niño apenas si tiene dientes o no le ha salido su diente?
Early visits to the dentist, according to Dr. Novella, gives parents the know-how and confidence to care for their child's oral hygiene, which begins from the newborn stage.
Y como estamos viendo ahorita en las imágenes, estos son nuestros auxiliares en los bebés. Esto se puede empezar a usar una vez que ya haya erupcionado el primer dientecito o cuando ya empezamos con la comida complementaria. Estos se llaman dedales de silicón. Los pueden conseguir en el supermercado, se pueden comprar online por Amazon. Vienen de diferentes colores y esto así tal cual, se coloca en un dedo y se va poniendo en la boquita del niño como que lo estamos cepillando. Eso es para estimularlo y para ir creándole esa conciencia o esa cultura de que se tiene que cepillar los dientes. Se va a introducir algo en la boca y es para cepillar al niño.
Simply brushing teeth, according to Dr. Davella, is not enough to maintain healthy teeth and gums in children who require great attention in this area, including limiting the amounts of sugar our children consume.
3 veces al día. El cepillado más importante tanto para niños como para adultos es el de la noche. ¿Por qué? En la noche nosotros nos vamos a dormir y ya no estamos produciendo altas cantidades de saliva. La saliva es de limpieza para la boca, que quiere decir, durante el día nosotros comemos algo, pero estamos produciendo saliva. Esa misma saliva ayuda a remover una cantidad de los azúcares que se encuentran en los dientes, ¿ok? En la noche no sucede eso, estamos dormidos, no producimos saliva y si no nos cepillamos, queda ese montón de comida de azúcares acumulados y es el momento más oportuno para las bacterias que empiecen a comer esa comidita que dejamos nosotros, producir ácidos que luego producen las caries, ¿ok? Entonces, siempre el de la noche es el más importante, pero para recalcar, 3 veces al día.
3 veces al día.
There is more news after the break. Stay tuned.
Project, it's a vanilla training for the west and the southern part of the country, which is being funded by the Taiwan Mission in Belize. Our focus is to diversify, to find ways to diversify the economic base of Belize. And we had identified that there may be some competitive advantage in the vanilla sector. While Belize doesn't have much production right now, there seems to be an interest in the international market for Belize gourmet vanilla bean. And we identified for the south, which is Bella Vista, to implement it because we found out, first of all, that there's they have a quite good history in implementing projects. We're training 30 women, okay, and girls. A partnership with the school, with the high school, where they're bringing in at least a little less than half of the persons that will be trained are young girls, youth.
Vanilla is native to Toledo District. It is easy to grow. It can be grown in the backyard. It requires no special skill. You don't have to go far off to a plantation to do it. So it really lends itself to rural what we call home gardens. And is a way to generate income for households.
The demand towards women is so high. The expectations are high and the rewards are always low, especially to the members. Those who will be taking this course, take advantage of it, work hard. You know, in 2022, when that email came to me, at no point I ever think that we will have this opening of this training in Bella Vista today, in my village. When I took that initiative, I did it right away. You know why? Because I did it for the betterment and the progress and the development of our beautiful country, Belize.
Did you know that unhealthy oral hygiene in children can lead to a host of complications, including cavities and dental plaque, which in turn also comes with complications of their own? Pediatric dentist Dr. Janelle Novello shares a few of the most common complications which are seen among children and what we can do as parents to help prevent or treat them.
Sí, correcto. Así como dice la imagen, así es como inician las caries dental, con una mancha blanca. Esto es porque el diente se está desmineralizando, está perdiendo sus minerales, entonces se empieza a poner blanco, se empieza a poner poroso, lleno de hoyitos, y luego eso se empieza a cavitar. Muy buena observación, usualmente se ve en la parte de arriba. ¿Por qué? Porque no estamos realizando un cepillado adecuado. Se nos olvida que es un bebé, que es un niño pequeño, que es un poco difícil cepillarlo, pero hay que apartar el labio, hacerlo hacia arriba y abarcar toda la superficie del diente para que esas manchas no se vayan a formar. Y aquí, como estamos observando, este proceso todavía es reversible. ¿Qué quiere decir? Si nosotros empezamos a hacer un cepillado adecuado, si vamos a nuestras consultas tal cual se recomienda por el odontólogo, ese diente se puede sanar y puede regresar a un estado en el que las manchas desaparezcan.
Muy bien. Let's go.
If not treated, these conditions can become even more severe and cause other health complications in children and even adults.
Esto es lo que pasa cuando no cuidamos los espacios de los dientes.
Wow.
Se forman apiñamientos graves, cosas que pueden ser evitadas si nosotros hiciéramos un poco más de conciencia, ¿ok? A veces me dicen, la doctora solo quiere sacarme dinero.
Ajá.
No hay que cuidar ese diente porque le viene el permanente, pero papás, yo de verdad estoy evitando este tipo de situaciones porque es mejor, es más agradable para un niño ir nada más por sus tratamientos preventivos cuando se puede. Cuando no, hacemos los root canals, pero yo les estoy intentando ahorrar el tiempo y el dinero de tener que pasar por tratamientos de ortodoncia, que son los famosos braces, ¿ok? Si nosotros cuidamos los dientes de niños, en muchas ocasiones se puede evitar tener que usar braces.
Exacto.
Prolonged use of baby bottles and pacifiers in toddlers, according to Dr. Novello, can also cause complications in the development of healthy teeth.
Si chupamos dedo, tomamos baba, usamos el chupón por tiempos muy prolongados, el hueso de arriba se va deformando. La fuerza así del niple, del dedo, del chupón, hace que el hueso se deforme, se vaya haciendo hacia enfrente y el paladar o el techo de la boca se empiece a subir. Eso ya forma maloclusiones, ¿ok? Los dientes, en vez de estar los de arriba por enfrente de los de abajo, se empieza a abrir una mordida que ya quedan los niños literal con, se llama mordida abierta, ¿ok? Son cosas tratables, definitivamente que sí. Es recomendado que se dejen, por ejemplo, el chupón se debe dejar entre los 2 y 3 años y el biberón a partir del año y medio. Ya hay que empezar a removerlo para poder evitar este tipo de cosas.
To learn more about the dental health of your children, you can visit Dr. Novello at Galactic Smiles Clinic on San Francisco Street here in Orange Walk Town, or contact her via any of their social media pages. On Wednesday, the 13th of November 2024, Prime Minister Honorable John Briceño traveled to Mexico City to chair a meeting of CESENA, the Central American Air Navigation Services Corporation, as the pro tempore chairman of that organization. The Prime Minister also seized the opportunity to lobby support for the candidacy of CEO Kennedy Carrillo, to sit on the ICAO, International Civil Aviation Organization Board, a specialized agency of the United Nations. During his one-day working visit to Mexico City, the Prime Minister, accompanied by CEO Narda Garcia and His Excellency Oscar Arnold, Belize's ambassador to Mexico, took the opportunity to meet with Raquel Sarur Smec, the Mexican Undersecretary, Vice Minister for Latin America and the Caribbean. Prime Minister Briceño emphasized the strong relationship between both countries and the support that President Claudia Sheinbaum and the new foreign minister pledged to the continued bilateral relations with Belize. The dialogue on security and the development of trade and tourism in the shared border region was also broadened, along with discussions of Tren Maya's medium and long-term plans. Mutual benefits for Belize and Mexico were highlighted, particularly in addressing the challenges and opportunities faced in the energy sector. Both countries are currently forming working groups to examine ways to increase energy generation and transmission, as well as to expand the existing power purchase agreement to meet growing demand on both sides of the border. The need for green energy development in both countries was another very prominent topic of discussion. The Belize Bureau of Standards is set to implement significant changes to food labeling regulations aiming to enhance consumer safety and clarity for residents. The proposed standard, known as Belize 1 Part 3 2024, will institute mandatory requirements for all prepackaged food products sold within the country. In a recent statement, the Bureau outlined the key components of the new regulations, emphasizing the need for clearer, more informative labels that prioritize consumer rights. The initiative comes as a response to emerging trends in food labeling, alongside a desire to mitigate instances of fraud and deception stemming from misleading product labels. Belize 1 Part 3 2024 specification for labeling Part 3, labeling of prepackaged foods, has been established to ensure that all manufacturers, importers, distributors, and entities involved in the production or trade of prepackaged foods comply with modern standards, the Bureau declared. Key features of the new labeling requirements include 1. Nutritional facts declaration. All prepackaged foods will now be required to display nutritional information clearly, enabling consumers to make informed dietary choices. 2. Allergen warnings. The regulation places a strong emphasis on allergen labeling, ensuring that potential allergy-inducing ingredients are clearly indicated, thereby enhancing consumer safety. 3. Spanish language labels. In recognition of Belize's diverse population, all food products will be mandated to include Spanish language labels, increasing accessibility for Spanish-speaking consumers. The Bureau of Standards encourage all relevant industries to prepare for compliance as they adapt to these new regulations. Consumers can expect to see these changes rolling out in the coming months, revolutionizing the way they interact with food products on supermarket shelves. The Belize Bureau of Standards aims to foster a more informed and health-conscious population as it embraces these progressive regulatory amendments. For more information on the new regulations, members of the public are encouraged to visit the Belize Bureau of Standards official website or contact their offices directly. And that's the news. We invite you to join us for another newscast on Wednesday, November 28th here on CTV3 News and Fiesta FM 106.7. Remember that to read a text version of the news, you can visit our website at ctv3belizenews.com. You can also log on to our Facebook page for current stories at facebook.com/CTV3BelizeNews or our YouTube channel at CTV3 News BZ. From all of us here at CTV3 News, thank you for watching and listening. Good night.